I'd like to bring back around to another mighty man. Let's all give a round of applause for Ice Cube, the boy in the hood.
Black people who pretended to be close to me started running from me. Ice Cube started melting on me.
He brought me around the music thing. He put me on the music thing, and I put him on the brotherhood thing.
Did he officially join the Nation of Islam?
I would say yeah.
What if Ice Cube wasn't just spitting bars about life in the hood, but was actually pushing a movement?
Assalamu alaikum. I want to thank the Nation of Islam for letting me come up and say a couple of things. I want to thank Dr. Khalid Muhammad.
And what if the Nation of Islam was quietly shaping his message and influencing LA streets? This story goes beyond rap. It's about power, politics, and hidden alliances that changed the game forever.
Jerry Heller or some of these other people have done to me, do they say that it's all right? It's really, the only political movement is the Nation of Islam, and that's really a spiritual movement. That's really turning a lot of black kids onto Islam and the Muslim religion.
Before Ice Cube got with the Nation of Islam, he was holding it down heavy with NWA. That was his crew, no doubt. But by the end of '89, Cube had enough. He felt like Jerry Heller, their manager, was playing him, especially with his contract situation. And on top of that, Cube wasn't vibing with the way the group was moving, especially Eazy-E. For Cube, it was about time for him to make that move away from the group.
I was just mad at that dude because he wouldn't give me my contract. I just wanted, let me see it. Let me take it to my people. The normal stuff you do when you get a contract. Of course. And he was like, I don't know, I can't give it to you. You can sign it, but I can't give it to you. So that was shady. And so I had a problem with him.
You're good with the members.
I was good with everybody. A little mad at E because I felt E wasn't taking the right side. I felt E
he was kind of under his
doing enough to keep me in the group.
After leaving NWA, Ice Cube dropped his first solo album, America's Most Wanted, in 1990. The album mixed gangster rap with real talk about life in the hood. Cube didn't hold back. He went straight at the system. On the song Endangered Species, he warned that his neighborhood was heading for violence, and this was even before the Rodney King beating in 1992. To him, hip-hop was the new voice of the people, kind of like what the Nation of Islam used to be.
It's really, the only political movement is the Nation of Islam, and that's really a spiritual movement. That's really turning a lot of black kids onto Islam and the Muslim religion, As far as the movement now is just the rappers. We're the movement, and we're spreading, we're starting to tell black kids to love themselves, you know what I'm saying? Because if you don't love yourself, how you gonna love others?
Cube's full induction into the Nation of Islam would happen through his cousin, Craig Miller, who was better known in the rap world as Cam, a West Coast legend in his own way. Cam's first time on Wax was with the track Every Single Weekend on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack, the same movie his cousin Cube starred in. Cam's known for rapping about stuff tied to the Nation of Islam, and he's been a member for years. It was actually his brother who introduced him to Islam.
Yep. So I was like, man, one particular situation, man, if your Allah get me out of this, I'll be with it. I'll be with you on it. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't happen overnight, but his Allah got me out of it, and I've been keeping my word ever since.
Cam was also deeply committed to Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. For Cube, Cam was more than a cousin. He became the gateway to a whole new way of thinking.
So when you first met Cube, he wasn't NOI?
Oh, no, he wasn't NOI.
Okay.
But, he was, I guess, studying, he was aware, but yeah, he wasn't NOI.
Okay, so was your relationship part of the reason why he started to get closer to that whole thing?
Definitely.
The gangster rapper everyone knew was turning into someone who talked about politics and ideas from the streets. And after linking up with the Nation of Islam, Cube's whole vibe shifted. That playful Jerry curl he used to rock, his cousin Cam helped him get rid of it.
I remember the big difference between Cube's first album and his second album was that in the second album, he had the whole NOI thing going.
Yeah.
He shaved his head, shaved the Jerry curl.
I did that. They left that out in the movie. Yeah, I cut his curl off.
You cut Ice Cube's Jerry curl off.
Cube also didn't have a problem showing up at Nation of Islam events, showing that he was with the program and believed in what they were preaching. He linked up with Khalid Muhammad and his crew and shared the stage with the minister a few times. It wasn't just talk. Cube was really about that life, standing side by side with strong black voices who were speaking out against the system. To him, rap wasn't just music. It was power, and he was using it to wake people up.
Assalamu alaikum. I want to thank the Nation of Islam for letting me come up and say a couple of things. I want to thank Dr. Khalid Muhammad for letting me say a couple of things. Right. The reason I'm here is because, like the brother said, this man has touched my life. Right. He showed me what time it is. Right. He told me what my daddy should have told me. Right. I'm sick of begging. I'm sick of begging for the white man to put out my records. All right.
In October 1991, Ice Cube dropped Death Certificate. The album's cover said a lot before you even heard a single track. It had Cube standing next to a dead body labeled Uncle Sam. Death Certificate came out right when people were looking for someone to speak on police brutality, racism, life in the hood, and all of it. And Cube gave them that. He was fresh off Boys in the Hood, where folks already saw him as the voice of that street life. And then boom, he drops this album that hits way harder than just entertainment. It was like Cube was saying, y'all sing Doughboy? Cool. Now here's what he's really thinking. The timing made it feel even more real. The Rodney King beating was still fresh in everyone's mind, and South Central was like a pressure cooker ready to blow. The album was full of ideas from the Nation of Islam mixed with the harsh realities of the streets. The album also had samples of Khalid Abdul Muhammad, who was now like a mentor to him. Cube wasn't just spitting bars anymore, he was preaching, passing on Khalid's powerful messages to a whole generation that was ready to rise up and push back. Inside the album's booklet, Cube dropped a quote that really showed how much the Nation of Islam was shaping his thinking. He said, "The reason why I say is because we are mentally dead even in 1991. We have a limited knowledge of self, so it leads to a mentality. The best place for a young black male or female is the Nation of Islam. Soon as we as a people use our knowledge of self to our advance, we will then be able to become and be called blacks." Death Certificate was split into two parts, kind of like two sides of the same coin. Cube broke it down himself. The death side, a mirror image of where we are today. The life side, a vision of where we need to go. It was deep, but not everybody was feeling the direction he was trying to take things. Some tracks sparked a real backlash, especially from the Asian and Jewish communities. One of the most talked about tracks was Black Korea. Just months before the album dropped, 15-year-old Tasha Harlins was shot in the back of the head by a Korean store owner, Soon Jadu, over a bottle of juice. The woman only got probation and $500 fine. No jail time. That set off a wave of anger in the black community. As for Cube, he took that anger and poured it straight into Black Korea.
So don't follow me up and down your market. All your little top three has to be a target of a nationwide boycott. Truth with the people, that's what the boy got. So pay respect to the black fist, or we'll burn your storm right down to a crisp. And then we'll sink ya, cause they can't turn together in the Black Korea.
The song came off raw and aggressive, and it hit a nerve. Some said he was just saying what a lot of folks were already thinking, but were too scared to put on a record. Others were not feeling the track as at the time. And since the track came out before the 1992 LA riots, where a lot of Korean-owned businesses got hit, people started pointing fingers. Cube was accused of stirring up hate between black and Asian communities.
What's Black Korea? I never heard.
That was the
death certificate. Yeah,
that was the racist one. That was the one where he's like making fun of Asian. I'm half Japanese, so he was making fun of Asians, and all of the Asians in LA were like,
I know you heard this
we're
one.
Ice Cube fans, and then that record came out.
It had to do with like the supermarkets, the bodegas.
Yeah. For a moment, we all got mad at it.
What?
Yeah, you know.
What?
I think you were.
Yeah, I think
you were in.
It was 7 months after the release of Death Certificate that the 1992 LA riots broke out after the Rodney King verdict. The same stores Cube called out in Black Korea got hit. Empire Liquor Market, where Latasha Hollins was. Cube had already shown how far he was willing to go with Black Korea, but that wasn't the only time he would cross dangerous territory. If Black Korea was about calling out systems outside his circle, No Vaseline was him turning the heat inward. I mean, he came for everybody. Dre, Ren, Easy, Yella, and most of all, Jerry Heller. Yeah, y'all like the way I made that rhyme, right? But under all the name calling and personal shots, there was something else going on. And when Cube called Heller out as a Jew, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Now, the reaction to No Vaseline was quick. Jewish organizations and community leaders came down hard on the track, calling it hateful and dangerous. And of course, products and commercials associated with Cube got blacklisted. But as for Cube, he just felt that he was just calling out the greed of Jerry Heller.
Hi, how do you feel about the beer companies that pulled the commercial you endorsed because of your anti-Jew lyrics?
Well,
anti-Semitic lyric would be a nicer way of putting it.
Well, the lyrics aren't really anti-Semitic, and I can't understand. You know, I listen to people like the Simon Wiesenthal and Rabbi Cooper, and am I getting this wrong? Are they saying that they condone what Jerry Heller or some of these other people have done to me? Do they say that it's all right? Or
while Death Certificate did its thing on the charts and in the market, there's no doubt Cube's reputation and politics got hit hard after the album dropped. He also stopped associating with Khalid Muhammad, who was quite prominent in the album, especially after he got kicked out of the Nation of Islam for going too far with his speeches that contained some anti-Semitism views. After that, Cube kind of fell back. He stopped mentioning Khalid Muhammad as much and didn't ride as hard for the nation publicly. Khalid definitely noticed, and he wasn't feeling the switch up. For him, it looked like Cube was stepping away when things got too hot.
For a moment, black people who pretended to be close to me started running from me. Ice Cube started melting on me. These who play hard pretend they're gangsters.
And as for his relationship with the Nation of Islam, Cube would later claim he never officially joined the Nation of Islam in the 2000 chat with The Guardian. When they asked if he was still with the Nation, Cube broke it down like this: I was never in the Nation of Islam. I'm a natural Muslim, because it's just me and God. Well, he may say he's no longer part of the Nation of Islam, but Cube still associates himself with the big shots in the NOI. In 2020, when CNN's Jake Tapper called Farrakhan an anti-Semitic misogynist on Twitter, Cube replied to him by telling him, watch your mouth. I mean, Ice Cube's bond with the Nation of Islam has always been in orbit than membership. I mean, the teachings no doubt gave his early records a sharper edge, framed how he saw the Rodney King verdict, and colored the way he talked about gangs and the system. Today, he moves on his own terms, still giving Farrakhan that nod when he feels the need to, and still packing his songs and business plays with the same old message of self-respect and self-control. Now, I need you to have some self-control and let us know in the comment section about what you feel about this song. Like it, and then go ahead and share it. Let it lose control. I'm representing Queen. It's been a pleasure as always. Peace and blessings.